Sarfaraz Khan snub for the tour of the West Indies. Well, that has created quite a bit of furor on social media among certain former cricketers, fans, and you'd expect some sort of frustration for Sarfaraz Khan and his supporters. Scored loads and loads of runs in first-class cricket, in Ranji Trophy, but he still couldn't find a spot in the Indian Test team for the tour of the West Indies. Understandable. It's not just about Sarfaraz Khan, really. Look at some of India's superstars in domestic cricket. You have Baba Indrajit, you have Abhimanyu Ishwaran. They've scored runs consistently, they've scored runs in critical moments for their teams. They haven't been able to break it through to the Test team. There were a lot of eyebrows raised when Ruturaj Gaikwad was named in that Test squad. Remember, he has an average of about 42 in first-class cricket. Yashasvi Jaiswal, understandable. Only 15 matches in first-class cricket, but he averages over 80. He scored 900s, 2 half-centuries. So fantastic conversion rate there. And of course, both Yashasvi Jaiswal and Ruturaj Gaikwad had a fantastic time in the IPL. So a lot of questions are bound to be asked. Is the IPL getting more weightage than first-class cricket? Here's the way I see it. Look, understandable frustration over Sarfaraz Khan's snub. I would also add Baba Indrajit to that list. I would also add Abhimanyu Ishwaran to that list. But look at the batting positions. Cheteshwar Pujara dropped. He has been India's long-serving number 3 after Rahul Dravid retired. Pujara played over 100 Test matches. Remember, he was dropped. This is not the first time Pujara has been dropped. He was dropped several years back. Then he made a comeback on the tour of Sri Lanka. Then he was again dropped after the tour of South Africa, along with Ajinkya Rahane. Pujara, of course, made that comeback to the Indian team in the one-off Test match in Birmingham. Rahane came back to the Indian team for the WTC final, which India lost to Australia, but he scored runs and automatically he becomes the vice captain. Now, here's the way I see it. Both Ruturaj Gaikwad and Yashasvi Jaiswal did very well in the IPL. And it's not like they didn't do anything at all in first-class cricket. Again, I would always think that, you need to average at least 50 consistently in domestic cricket to be there for some sort of reckoning. So that is why I think that is the reason why a lot of people are a little surprised with Gaikwad. But the way I see it is, the Indian Premier League is perhaps the final finishing school before you step onto the Indian team. So you had Yashasvi Jaiswal, who was on fire. Gaikwad had a pretty good IPL season. I mean, he's been there. He's impressed for the Chennai Super Kings for the last 2 or 3 seasons. So you understand that sense as well. And that is where you make that landing into the Indian team. Fitness is obviously one big motivation for selectors and the team management to look at. Discipline, as is being pointed out in Sarfaraz Khan's case, did Sarfaraz Khan tick off someone with his celebration in that Ranji Trophy match in Delhi last season? Nobody knows. Some said it was towards a particular Chetan Sharma. Then that story was corrected and they said it was towards Salil Ankola. Now some people are saying it was that was a passionate display of his emotions and he was really gesturing towards his teammates and the Mumbai support staff. So all of that is so much about optics, and a former cricketer recently just said that, look, you have to be wary of social media. It's a double-edged sword. So how you're perceived is also very, very important in this day and age. And it's as important perhaps as the runs that you're scoring. So Sarfaraz Khan's omission, surprising as it is, or disheartening as it is, you can perhaps understand. Maybe he needs to work on the optics and he needs to make the most of what chances he gets in the IPL, whether you like it or not. And no matter how outlandish it sounds, the IPL is here to stay, and the IPL will perhaps be that sort of finishing school because you are being, there's so much scrutiny. You're being constantly judged for the way you're performing, your body language, the way you carry yourself. Understandable, because, you play at the IPL and then you play in the Indian team, you understand the pressure, the glare of the media. So it's all really so interconnected and you can't really wish it away. So for Sarfaraz Khan, perhaps now he needs to make the next big move and do a little more consistently in the IPL, whichever team he plays for. This was Rajesh Gupta bringing this to you for India Today YouTube.